Broadcasting to viewers in Liberia and across the globe. Hello and welcome to News Today on KMTV. My name is Anthony Kukui. Wherever you're watching us from, we say thanks for joining our news broadcast tonight. Stories making headlines tonight. There will be no hiding place, no one too big to confront, says Liberia's Solicitor General Designate, Consular Serena Cephas, promises inclusive justice of restitution and prosecution against all individuals indicted by past audit reports. President George Weah returns home after holding bilateral and business discussions with Nigerian counterpart and business tycoons, said Information Minister Len Eugene Nangbe. House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chima's term as unfortunate statement attributed to all Liberian party political leader Benin Nigeria, in which he termed some Liberians as cockroaches. Welcome to KMTV News. We begin at the Ministry of Information, where Liberia's Solicitor General Designate has committed and show what he calls total manifestation of recent pronouncement made by President George Weah to prosecute those indicted by previous audit reports. Speaking Thursday at the Information Ministry regular press briefing, Consular Serena Cephas said the President's pronouncement of war on corruption is a public outcry that will seek the country's interest to the fullest.
As you may know, there is a public outcry from every segment of the Liberian society about massive abuses of state resources, waste, and corruption in public places. Consistent with our call, the President of the Republic of Liberia announced the war on corruption, and in recent ceremonies, specifically on June 7, in the petition that we read from the Council of Patriots on the internet, that particular call to fight corruption was reiterated with a demand that all audit reports and investigation conducted over the years be fully implemented. I have come before you this morning to say my being here is a clear testament to a full manifestation of that demand. And so, as of yesterday, we started a holistic and comprehensive review of all audit reports emanating from GSC and investigative reports from the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission. The focus of that review process is to create a conducive atmosphere where those who have been audited and found to be liable will be invited, be given two choices to make. Our priority choice number one is a recovery process. It's called restitution. And when you are invited after the review process, you will be given these two choices: restitution or prosecution.
Meanwhile, Solicitor General Designate has guaranteed an inclusive justice of restitution and prosecution against all individuals indicted into reports by the Auditing Commission if confirmed by the Senate. Consular Serena Cephas is quoted as saying there will be no hiding place. No one is too big to confront, a statement he made in reference to the legal actions that will be instituted against alleged corrupt officials.
It should suggest to you that we exhausted all available means to have the person make an informed decision on the question of restitution, and the only alternative option to pursue is prosecution. Now, my advice to all and sundry is that there will be no hiding place. No one will be too big to confront. There will be no mountain too hard to climb, and no valley too low to walk. We have resolved that this fight will even continue if we are confirmed by the Honorable Librarian Senate. But until then, the process of review of all the other reports has started. So I want to announce to you that the fight or the war on corruption is not today, it's not hereafter, it's not tomorrow, but begins now. It begins now. And the focus is to recover the resources of the Liberian people and to root out looters and those who believed that they can reduce the national treasury to a sorry state. Yes, this is a fight that we've been called upon to initiate. We need members of the Liberian press to be broad-minded, to join us, to make sure even to check every action that we may take in the process.
Well, let's now bring you a flashback of President George Weah's declaration against corruption.
We are addressing the problems of the past that still cast shadow over our people's lives. We are implementing land reforms and local governance law passed by our legislature last year. And we are supporting dialogue at the local level with a system for international partners that advances reconciliation and unity. My fellow citizens, we intend to intensify our fight against corruption. But as we battle corruption, our fight will be based on the facts and the evidence of corruption activities that is adduced by reports from audits that have been professionally conducted, rather than mere perception and unsubstantiated allegations. In the next several days, my government will begin the review of all General Auditing Commission audits over the past 10 years. And will commence legal action against every person that is implicated in these audit reports. Anyone found culpable will face the full force of the law. In the same spirit, my government also intends to contract international auditing and investigative firms to go after all monies and resources that were illegally taken from Liberia over the last 10 years. We must all take the fight against corruption to a new level as a form of social justice for all our people. Our national dialogue must be based on truth, facts, and evidence, and our national discourse.
We're also speaking at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing was Justice Minister Councillor Frank Musa Dean, who challenged the police to conform to the Code of Duty. The Liberian Justice Minister noted that police are relevant state actors in enforcing the laws as well as protecting lives and property, something he wants officers to actualize.
We are overwhelmed with joy by this gesture of the Liberian National Police. Everyone knows the function and role that a well-uniformed police plays, because he is proud, he is distinguished, and he is so perceived by the community he serves. You are making tremendous sacrifices, and we appreciate this. To go out there, talk to people, lobby, and get uniforms and other equipment to bring to the police. This is exceptional. We'd like to applaud the Inspector General of Police, the deputies, and every police officer in this room and in the Republic of Liberia. This is exemplary. It shows the love and commitment you have for your job. We know that we are working with less men. We know that you are not so equipped. We know that crime is also on the rise. That is a challenge for the Liberian National Police and other security agencies.
A group under the banner Alliance for National Justice in Liberia has requested the Council of Patriarchs and the Governor of Liberia to consider a full-count recommendation in ensuring vibrant democracy. The group, among other things, wants the government to embrace the petition of the Council of Patriarchs, develop mutual path of dialogue and avoid provocative exchanges. Jeremiah Swan is the chairman of the pro-democracy group.
We recommended that the government of Liberia, despite her past unfriendly relationship with organizer of the June 7 protest, receive the entire petition with the spirit of nationalism and 7 leadership. You know, as 7 leaders, we don't look at what benefit you. We look at the general benefit of the person or persons you work along with plus yourself. So we believe that there should be a detour. The government should be looking at what happened in the past. But have a more holistic outlook on the whole petition. So we call for the government to embrace the petition, not to look at what happened in the past. And at the same time, we call on COPS, the Coalition for Patriots and the government, to develop and sustain a mutual path of dialogue to critically assess what is critically assessed, and also look at the practical nature of the entire accounts issued within the petition, outline what can be workable now or for the medium-term implementation. And the third one, that the government of Liberia and its supporting institutions avoid and or curtail any form of provocation with COP, and also lies COP and supporting stakeholders refrain from all insightful and hate messages to the leadership of the country, and lead the path of criticism driven by morality, ethical standards, and respect for the rules of law. So it's a win-win situation. We're trying to create a situation where every stakeholder associated to this entire protest will understand their moral obligations to respect the peace, and at the same time, despite the differences, there should still be a melting point where they can have some space for peacefully engage in each other to dialogue on the petition and understand what is very much realistic in terms of implementation. Because in the absence of that, you cannot achieve your objective, and the petition is not meant for COP. The petition is based on what is most sensitive, that is more practical, affecting the lives of Liberians. The lives of Liberians is not about COP, it's about the government. So we think in that direction. People should look at what happened to them in the past about hate messages or insultive words that have been spreading from one end to another end. So now is the best moment now we as a country to just undo what happened to us in the past. Because
if you just joined, you're watching News Today, half an hour news presentation that brings you up to date with unfoldings in Liberia. My name is Anthony Kukui. We still have a lot more news coming up for you, including House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers' term as unfortunate, statements attributed to all Liberian party political leader Benin Nigeria, in which he terms some Liberians as cockroaches. And President George Weah returns home after holding bilateral and business discussion with Nigerian counterparts and business tycoons, says Information Minister Len Eugene Nangwe. It's now time that we take our break. More developments right after our break. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining. President George Weah has returned home after what Information Minister Len Eugene Nangwe describes as a successful trip to Nigeria. Minister Eugene Nangwe told executive mansion reporters while in Nigeria, the Liberian leader held bilateral discussions with his counterpart. The discussion highlighted peace and security, including the strengthening of trade and commerce between the two countries. Minister Nangwe briefly spoke to executive mansion reporters during the arrival of President George Weah at the Rabat International Airport.
The President held bilateral discussions with President Buhari on issues of mutual consent for Liberia and Nigeria.
Specifically,
the two presidents also had a closed-door tete-a-tete. At the bilateral meeting, President Buhari and President Weah and their delegations agreed for Nigeria and Liberia to cooperate in several areas: peace and security, investment, trade, economic affairs, and all of those things that bring our two countries together under the ECOWAS banner. So it was a very fruitful trip, a very important trip. The President also used the occasion to have side meetings with several of his counterparts, including the President of Senegal, Macky Sall, the President of Namibia. He had discussions with other world leaders who attended the inauguration ceremony of President Buhari in Abuja.
What specifically does President Weah want President Buhari to do in terms of security?
The two countries already have existing agreements in the area of security cooperation. So during the bilateral discussions, we continue to solidify those existing security ties. But we did not limit our discussion to security. The two leaders also discussed economic activities, investment, and trade. It will also interest me to note that Mr. President met about 30 members of the Nigerian business community, some of whom are already investing in Liberia, because the President's concept is for us to increase South-South trade as a way of boosting the Liberian economy. So Mr. President has returned home to continue his job, to improve the lives of the people of Liberia, to improve the livelihood of the people of Liberia also.
Nimba County Representative Larry Yankwen has threatened unspecified action against Senator Prince Johnson if he refuses to apologize to him for what he calls false statement made against him. Senator Johnson, prior to the conduct of the June 7 protest, accused the Nimba County lawmaker of recently hiring ex-generals to participate in the Assembly of Citizens on June 7. He said an ultimatum of 3 weeks has been given to the senator to retract the declaration against him or face legal action. Let's take a look.
Never at any point have I ever invited even a civilian to come to Monrovia. I have always told people that the issue, as I'm hearing in Monrovia, is a Monrovia-based protest, and everybody should remain where it is. To the extent that some people even asked me that they were making their labels, they were spreading their t-shirts on their own to participate in Saclepier. And I told them that they was not a Monrovia, it's a Monrovia affair. Nobody is expected to to come from the rural area. So for a general, a former rebel leader that people knew, recruited a number of children in this country, a number of men and women, and fought along with him, who still has his control, who has been making a lot of threat that even if he were invited for war crime, he will fight, his people will fight for him. And we have been on many occasions on this very media to say that the country is not in cahoots with him on that statement. The country is a peaceful country. I've made a call since I came that he has been given some time to retract the statement publicly and apologize to me. Otherwise, I will take an undisclosed step. That is known. If you look on the social media controlled by sons and daughters of the country, you can see it there. And all radio stations in Nimba have taken this message. And so what I'm trying to do now is that I'm going to document it to the chief elder of the country, the chairman of the chief and elder council, and the very women group that came, which I know they both of them spoke for their children. I'm going to write this letter to the chief elder and CC the women, the youth, student groups, telling on Senator Johnson, I will give him maximum 2 weeks, 3 weeks to retract the statement and apologize that apparently he was overwhelmed by the tension in the country. Nobody knew what was going to happen as a result of June 7, so he made a statement without knowing the implication, but he didn't actually mean what he said because there is no truism in what he said. And I'm going to reduce it into writing and serve it on the chief elders who had that meeting. And if he doesn't do that, I'm going to take an undisclosed or step against him to put it on record for the first time. Because he has always said it, and we have always gone and dealt with him on the radio the same way he dealt with us, we are dealt with it. This time, I'm going to be very sober. I'm allowing my action to be covered by sobriety. I'm not calling any name. I'm not using any, any kind of Sunday school language on him. I'm simply saying that Senator Johnson, under my voice, must be able to retract that what he said is not true, and if he does not say it, he's going to account for the statement he made.
House Speaker Dr. Buford Chimers has thrown on that's at All Liberian Party political leader Benina Ure for statement attributed to him. In a recent statement, Mr. Ure allegedly referred to some Liberians as cockroaches. He said the statement of the All Liberian Party leader has the ability to spark tension in the country. Dr. Chimers, who spoke to legislative reporters on Capitol Hill, has meanwhile challenged Mr. Ure to apologize to the Liberian people.
We want to remind Mr. Ure, who labeled some portion of the Liberian citizenry as being cockroaches. Those words do not go down well in civilized societies because the repercussions can be so severe. It happened during the time Liberia had a problem with violence and conflict. People were branded cockroaches, and the aftermath was only knowing the history of people being dead. Equally, in the case of the Rwanda, incident where we had the Tutsis and the Hutus fighting. People were branded cockroaches. The Tutsis were called cockroaches by the extremist Hutus, and that led to over 800,000 persons being killed. So I hope people are mindful of what they are doing, and they are cognizant of history. We don't want for history to repeat itself. No, it's not a good omen for an elder, for one who is representing a political institution, to make that utterance. If indeed it is something that he doesn't know the consequences of, then I hope that he will apologize to the Liberian people. Otherwise, we hold him responsible for things that will go wrong in terms of the sanctity of life in this republic, because this is a country of laws, and we are not here to play with the lives of our citizens.
The Liberia National Police has received over 2,000 new sets of uniforms, including 3,000 rain jackets among other materials. The provision of the police brigadier is part of Colonel Patrick Sudu's commitment to keep officers of the LMP always unique. Making a presentation Thursday at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police, Inspector General Patrick Sudu said the move is a promise made at the Senate during his confirmation.
Our being here is to dedicate uniforms that were brought in. The history of the uniform went far back during my confirmation hearing. I told the Senate and the Liberian people that the LMP was not tally. And I also promised that I was going to do everything within my power, along with my deputies, to ensure that we make our officers to stand up tall, to make our officers to be very tally, to make our officers to be presentable to the public. It was in this vein that we kept knocking on doors, and we kept knocking on government doors, and our effort in reaching out to the government and other friends have yielded a fruitful result. I would like to inform you all today that we are unveiling 3,200 uniforms. And these uniforms are in the following category. We have the PSU, the ERU, 1,000 suit of uniform. We have the regular uniform, 2,000, and we have the CSD jacket, 200, totaling 2,000. We also took into consideration that we have a climate, the raining climate, that also serve as an impediment to the operation of the Liberia National Police. So we look in that direction to also make part of the package 3,000 raincoats so as to serve the officers. And I would like to ask the officers to please stand to display the uniform that was being purchased. So you can see this is a raincoat, and turn around. You can see the back of the raincoat, you have a hood.
Put it on one hand.
Yeah, you can see that. Then you see this, the jacket. But this jacket will be printed CSD, Liberia National Police, so it can have an identity. This is the PRUPS uniform. This is the regular uniform of senior and junior officers. So, doing the reseason and doing their job.
The Police Inspector General has meanwhile assured a nationwide distribution of the uniforms and food to all police officers. He at the same time called on police officers to see the materials as tools in fulfilling their obligations.
We went a very long way in planning and talking to friends, talking to government to acquire this uniform. And I will say here clearly, the priority in distributing this uniform will be the inferior counties. Because every other supply or donation that comes to LMP, it always starts with Central Monrovia and ends right in Monrovia. So this uniform will start from the county and will end in Monrovia. You should inform the various regional commander to come down with a listing, and they will liaise with the personnel and logistics so as to start receiving the supply today. I would also like to announce we also had a conversation with government, and government was very instrumental in ensuring that each officer of the Liberia National Police get a bag of rice. I'm talking about 50 kg bag of rice. So that distribution is ongoing, and I can assure you that we'll do everything to seek the welfare of officers of the Labrador National Police. The team you have here, this team will work in your interest. This team will ensure that whatsoever LNP officers should get, they will get it in due course.
To entertainment news now, Nog Nog Liberia, organizers of the KD International Film Festival, have officially launched the second edition of the event with 15 distinct award categories. The KD International Short Film Festival is a ceremony that celebrates professionals in the entertainment industry and also affording the opportunity for professional interaction. According to the chief organizer of the festival, Cotto Davis, the event has been rebranded as the KD International Film Festival after obtaining partnership from Nigeria. She explained more about this year's edition of the festival.
KD Short Film Festival has obtained international partnership from Nigeria and has been working on how to reshape or upgrade the festival on an international level. KD Short Film Festival is now renamed as KD International Film Festival due to future plans to accept entries from other African countries in future. It's expected to be one of the prestigious events in West Africa and Africa at large. Today, Nog Nog Liberia is pleased to officially announce to you the launch of the second edition of the KD International Film Festival, which is a unique platform to discover Liberia's next big filmmakers. Nog Nog Liberia has organized this festival to empower young Liberians to discover new talents and give them the support and exposure needed to reach the next level in film productions. This year, we are only accepting entries from Liberian filmmakers in Liberia and abroad. Film produced in the last 2 years to present will be accepted. Submission beginning from June 20th to September 30th, while the events will take place in November. The 2019 festival is focusing on film, television, fine arts, and photography, with 15 distinct award categories. A year ago, we launched the first film festival with 3 categories, and it was a huge success. This year, we will showcase a wide range of talents and make it a broader spectrum with 15 award categories, including Best Film, Best Feature Film, Best Short Film, Best Documentary, Best Screenplay, Best Sound, Actress of the Year, and Actor of the Year. Other award categories will include Director of the Year, Best Performing Musician, Best Performing Group, Best Makeup, Best Picture, Best Cinematography, Best Costume, and KDIFF Achievers Award.
She's Cotto Davis, chief organizer of the KD International Film Festival. And away from Liberia now, a second person has died of Ebola in Uganda 2 days after the government confirmed its first case of the virus in the country, the BBC has reported. Health officials confirmed that the 50-year-old grandmother of the child who tested positive on Tuesday died on Wednesday night at the isolation unit while she was being treated. She and other members of the family reportedly got infected after coming into contact with someone who had Ebola and has since died. 7 other suspected cases have been monitored. They include the parents of the 5-year-old boy who died. Meanwhile, Uganda has intensified its public campaigns about Ebola and has stepped up screening at all major border points. Well, on that foreign note, that's how we go home on today's edition of KMTV News Today. But before we go, a recap of our headlines. There will be no hiding place, no one too big to confront, said Liberia's Solicitor General designate, Councillor Serino Seaforth. President George Weah returns home after holding bilateral and business discussion with Nigerian counterpart and business tycoon, said Information Minister Len Eugene Nangbe. House Speaker Dr. Buffett Chambers termed as unfortunate statement attributed to All Liberian Party political leader Benina Ure, in which he termed some Liberians as cockroaches. We say many thanks to you for always joining our news broadcast. On behalf of the entire team, my name is Anthony Kukwe. Good night.